Potential Tropical Cyclone 5E. That has been designated. It's been organizing off of the Central American coast. And as we look at things continue to progress, well, now the National Hurricane Center has gone ahead and designated that, saying since the system is expected to develop, it may affect Mexico late Wednesday or Thursday. So advisories are needed ahead of that, which is why they have designated this as PTC E5. So that's where we stand right now in terms of names. We've been talking about and throwing out the name Erick. That is the next name list, or name on the list, I should say. So this still does have that potential to become Erick, but right now it's designated as 5E, PTC 5E. So no matter how you kind of describe it right now, it's developing. And we have, again, this plume of cloud tops, meaning that these storms are intensifying just off of the coast of South America. When we look at all of the details, not much has changed. Right now, we now have a movement, moving towards the northeast or northwest at 8 miles per hour. Wind speeds sit at 35 miles per hour, so it's below that threshold of being named right now. That could change. And we also have the pressure sitting at 1009 millibars. So again, it's still strengthening. It's a slow go at things, but we now have a cone to this, a tracking cone. So here's where we stand in terms of the winds, in terms of the forecast maybe progressing, and even the direction of this as it's likely to impact parts of Mexico. Notice that by tonight, we could see those winds increase to around 45 miles per hour. It's once we get into this threshold, around 65 to 80 miles per hour, well, now we have a named storm, if anything, a hurricane on our hands. So that is still a possibility at this point in time, at least through this week, where we could have this continuing to progress into hurricane status as it approaches landfall. Looking at the future radar, the last couple of loops here show that there is some major improvements in terms of developing. We have that rotation, possibly a core that starts to pop up by Wednesday morning. We really start to see this impact land heading into Thursday morning and Friday. So possible landfall across parts of Mexico as we go into the latter half of the week. And then watch how this continues to just kind of spread over Mexico, meaning that we could have flood concerns. This is a highly mountainous area. The topography could lead to flooding as we go into the latter half of this potential life cycle. So we'll see if it gets named. I'm not giving it the name Erick, but we do know that right now we have PTC 5E on the board, and we have warnings that will likely to follow for the southwest coast of Mexico. Now, there are some forecast models even suggesting that this system can drift far enough to the north where we now have to consider an area like southern Texas. So yes, a little closer to home, we could be impacted by some tropical moisture. There's multiple ingredients that are needed to actually see this play out, but for extreme South Texas, we could see some soaking rain by the time the weekend rolls around. Here's the overall setup of this. So we have this tropical upper trough. That's a new term if you're just now joining us on Fox Weather. You may not have heard that before, but it has a meaning. It's pretty much an area of low pressure higher up in elevation that will help draw up a lot of this moisture across parts of Texas. Here's the overall setup from this. So again, that low pressure system in the upper levels of the atmosphere, we're talking 30, 40,000 feet up into the atmosphere. And it does two things, depending on the setup. One way it could help prevent tropical development. It has a lot of wind shear attached to it, but if it's in a right position, if it's nestled rightly over parts of the tropics, well, it actually may sometimes help. It could position itself right and maybe even ventilate a lot of the storms from up top, and that can make them stronger, producing a lot of heavy rain. I think that's going to be the case this go round. I think it does have enough oomph in it to allow for this moisture to find its way all the way up across parts of deep southern Texas. And this happens into the weekend, maybe impacting an area like Brownsville or even Corpus Christi. Brownsville will watch you closely because the end of the week does also correlate with the models that are picking up on this. We have a couple of opportunities for thunderstorms into Thursday and Friday, and especially going into the weekend. So you add all of this together, and cumulatively, we will have a chance of seeing storms that really start to really move into the area. And of course, with the energy ahead of these storms, temperatures in the 90s, the upper 90s at that can make for some strong storms as they push a little farther north. So again, right now, models are suggesting this. We'll continue to keep a close eye on it, see how things progress, especially as we head deeper into the week.